Welcome to our midweek Lenten adventure, and helping me today is
Ava.
All right, so thanks Ava for coming and helping me out. Today we are going to throw kindness around like confetti. Ah! So kindness. We want to show kindness to everybody, all right? So throw kindness around like confetti. Remember, that's what Jesus did. And the reason why we're throwing kindness around like confetti is because we're going to talk about a lady. I've got a confetti right in my, there we go. We're going to talk about a lady in the Bible who threw kindness to Jesus. The disciples didn't like it, but Jesus applauded her for it. And the lady took a jar of very, very expensive alabaster perfume, and she poured it on Jesus's head. Now, the disciples were thinking that that money could have been used for a lot of other things. But Jesus said, no, she took that and she blessed me by pouring it on my head. She was concerned and she was preparing him for his burial. Because remember, we're talking about the last week of Jesus's life, right before he is going to be crucified on the cross for us. Now remember, last week we talked about another lady that had her only 2 coins that she had, and she put those in the treasury of the church to be used, and she gave all that she had. Jesus wants us to always give all that we had, and that's what the lady with the perfume did. She took that expensive perfume and gave it to Jesus and did something good for him. She did. So our color today is white. So you can get out your white mints if you want. There, Ava, if you'd like to have a mint. Okay? They aren't jelly beans, sorry. They are mints. So if you aren't a big fan of mints, maybe share them with someone else. Okay. Our other activity for today is, Ava, would you share your lunch with a friend if they forgot to bring their lunch?
Probably.
Now, would you still share even if it meant that you'd be hungrier than normal?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. What about if you had to help your sisters finish their chores faster so that then you guys could go do something together? Would you do that?
Maybe.
There's a maybe. There's some honesty. Okay. Now, what if there are some mean kids at school that are bullying one of your friends? Would you stand up to them and say something?
Probably.
Now, what happens, though, if all of a sudden the tables turn, so now they're going to start bullying you? Would you still take that risk and try it the first time and stop them the first time?
Maybe.
Okay. All right. Taking risks. That's what we have to do for Jesus, is to take risks. All right. So an activity that we have for you today, Ava's going to make us some cinnamon ornaments. And the cinnamon is going to remind you of that perfume that the lady poured on Jesus's head. And what's going to happen is you're going to make some cinnamon ornaments, and oh, they smell good. But I'm a cinnamon fan. I like that. Okay, so these are some that I made in advance. All right, so Ava's going to show us how to do that. In your bag, you should have some applesauce. So you're going to pour in almost all of the applesauce, not quite all of it. Okay, you're going to save a little bit out. And then if you still have some at the end, you can eat that applesauce. Okay, you should have some cinnamon. And so Ava's going to pour in all but just a little bit of that cinnamon also, because she is going to need that. And actually, oh, exactly. Oh yeah, you won't be able to grab that with your lotion. Sorry, I wasn't prepared for that, was I? All right, Ava, fact of the matter, let's pour in only about down to here, and we'll mix it up and we can always add more. Okay, so again, you're just going to add a little bit of it, about over half of your cinnamon in to begin with, okay? All right, and then you're going to want to add about a tablespoon, okay, of glue. All right, so you can just squirt some glue in, okay? All right, About that much. That just helps the ornament stay together a little bit more. Okay, and give it a stir and see how we're doing. Okay, it's going to be really, really sticky. Okay, and it's going to kind of be hard to stir, so you're probably even going to have to use your hands at the end. All right, which is what I was pretty good with the spoon, but if you got to get your hands in there, go right ahead. Yeah, you're going to need more cinnamon, I think, aren't you? I think it's going to be too sticky. Okay, let's add a little more cinnamon into it. Okay, all right. You can't have it be too sticky, okay, because then you won't be able to roll it out. So it has to be kind of like a thick dough. It does. Nice. You want to get a close-up view of that, Randy? Okay. All right, so it's a pretty thick dough. Okay, now Ava's going to go ahead and kind of get that into a ball. And then she's going to put it on some wax paper. Not wax paper, I'm sorry. Saran wrap. All right. So she's going to just get it into a ball. Put it all on there. She'll flip the saran wrap over, and then she'll be able to roll it out. Now, you don't want to roll it out too thin, because what'll happen if you do is it will break, okay? Like my star broke. But you know what? I can still put this in a drawer, and it'll still make the drawer smell like cinnamon. Or I could even hang these on one of my cupboards. I could, to make a nice smell. Okay, I have one in one of my dresser drawers. All right, to make a good smell there. Okay, there you go, Ava. You can just wipe your fingers with that. Okay, now she's got that done. So now we're just going to fold that saran wrap over. All right. All right, and then Ava's just going to, she can press it out a little bit with her hands to begin with, just to try to get it flattened out. And then you can use a rolling pin to go ahead and flatten it to the rest of the way if you need to. You might be able to just do it with your hands, because like I said, you don't want to get it too thick. I think you're going to be fairly good there, Ava. Okay. What do you think? Is that about the thickness we should have it? Maybe. Okay. You want to give it just a little bit of a roll with that and smooth your top. Okay. Nice. Good. Okay. All right. Go ahead and peel the top off. And Ava's going to decide what ornament she wants to make. Pick something maybe that would remind you of Jesus. You could do a cross. You could cut it out with a knife if you wanted to. We've got a flower over there. We've got a star to remind us that Jesus is the light of the world. And that looks like that's what Ava's going to make. Okay, I also had a heart over here, okay, or a flower, or the gingerbread man, which could be Jesus, to represent Jesus. Okay, then what you're going to do is you're going to go ahead and take... Good, thank you, Ava. You need to make a hole in it if you want to hang it. So you can just take a straw and punch down through it, okay? All right, and then that way you'll have your hanger. So then you can just peel off the rest of your dough from around your straw, or from around your star, okay? It doesn't matter if your edges are rough, because once it has dried, you can just use some sandpaper, all right, and just bust the edges just a little bit. And that made mine really nice and smooth. Now to dry them, you can dry them in a variety of ways, all right? You can put them in a dehydrator if you would like. I just put mine, I set them on top of my refrigerator and left them there for about 4 days or so. I did turn them after about 2 days. I went ahead and turned it, all right, so that it would dry on the back side, okay? So there you just have your ornament. Let it sit for a few days, flip it over, let it dry on the back side, and then you're set. Now, I decided not to dry mine on a rack because I thought it would leave creases in more ornament, but you could dry it on a rack also. Then what you can do is just put your dough all back together again, and you can do another ornament if you would like. So there you go. That is our activity for today. All right, now don't forget, hopefully you've been filling in your crosses. Today's color is white for God's grace. But you know what? It just wasn't showing up. So mine, I colored it over again with a little bit of a different color. So you might want to just pick a different color besides white. I have listened to a Christian song that I filled in. I donated food to the little pantry at church. I shared Jesus with someone at track practice. I did a chore without being asked, all right? So make sure that you're filling in your cross. And this week, throw kindness around like confetti. Let's say a prayer. Dear Jesus, help us this week to throw kindness around like confetti. And when we smell something really good, like our cinnamon ornaments, help it to be a reminder to us of the woman who shared her very expensive perfume with you. And that way your light will shine through us this week. And all God's children said together,
Amen.